Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, y'all. Happy Sunday. It's early. I got to get in and out today. I don't think a lot of people are going to be here because it's so early. But I promised yesterday I was going to come and get through chapter 6 today. And Eckhart's chapters are a little lengthy. So I'm trying to get through it. I'm trying to be done by like 7 o'clock because I still got to work out, and I'm trying to get out the door by 8 o'clock and get on the road. I got to go get my baby, and I got a lot to do today. So with that said, okay, wait, let me make sure all of the things are thinking. Okay, that looks good over there. That looks good over there. And let me get my comments up. So should somebody wake up, hey, Nola girl, good morning, sunshine. This is not a sad one today. I haven't been doing the sad ones. I'm trying to get back to them though, because I just like to, acknowledge those who have left us. But no, it's not about a baby. It's not a sad one today, but it is about being mindful. We're getting through a book that I've been reading. Eckhart Tolle. I need to Google and figure out how to say this man's last name. We're just gonna say Eckhart. I don't know if y'all can see it. It's a little bright. If you can see it, The Power of Now. I love this book. Love this book. Love this book. It kind of complements some of the work that I was doing this summer on mindfulness, eating right, thinking right, being reflective, and all of the things. And so this summer we did Seeing Beautiful Again, those 50 devotionals. That kind of helped. Well, not kind of. That was like very impactful for me. And then getting into Eckhart, I got to Eckhart's book. I'm a little late, not a little late. I'm a lot late because he was part of Oprah's book clubs and all of that stuff. But I didn't know nothing about Eckhart until Kendrick Lamar's album dropped. And I am fascinated with that piece of work, Kendrick Lamar's Mr. Morale and the Big Stepper in general. I think it is a beautiful piece of not just music, thoughts, feelings, emotions, life. And he talks a lot about Eckhart in that music. And so I dug down the Eckhart rabbit hole, and here we are. Is it from? Yes, it's the same book from last week. So we are on chapter 6. We did chapter 5 yesterday, and I weaved in some of the things that had happened to me yesterday. So that live was like 2 hours. I don't have 2 hours today, y'all. And I don't think I have a lot of more stories to tell. Nothing much happened yesterday after I got off live, other than regular life, grocery shopping. I tried to do all of that yesterday because I knew I had to get on the road today and do some things for my baby. So here we are. Good morning. Good morning, universe. Good morning, YouTube. Present and future. Because that's why I do this, for the future. I mean, I'm hoping to, help people presently, but a lot of it is because I want to leave a footprint for future generations of those who might come after me, from me, need me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm here for you. All right, so we are going to get into chapter 6. Chapter 6 is the inner body. Being is your deepest self. And all of these sections typically will start with a question, and then Eckhart chimes in with his very mindful, thoughtful presentness and responds. You spoke earlier about the importance of having deep roots within or inhabiting the body. Can you please explain what you meant by that? The body can become a point of access into the realm of being. Let's go into that more deeply now. I am still not quite sure if I fully understand what you mean by being. Water? What do you mean by that? I don't understand it. This is what a fish would say if it had a human mind. Please stop trying to understand being, kind of what we talked about yesterday. Stop trying to make everything make sense. Stop trying to put everything into a category. You have already had significant glimpses of being, but the mind will always try to squeeze it into a little box and then put a label on it. That's what human nature does. We label race, we label sexuality, genders, we label hair types, we label body types, We have a BMI index weight chart of a label of where you should be. We label growth in terms of education. Like we literally label everything because that helps us make sense of our world. It cannot be done. It cannot become an object of knowledge. And being, subject, and object merge into one. Being can be felt as the ever present I am that is beyond name and form. To feel and thus to know that you are and to abide in that deeply rooted state of is enlightenment, is the truth that Jesus says will make you free. But what are you becoming free of? Free from what? Free from the illusion, because this is the matrix that we all live in together right now on this planet Earth. Free from the illusion that you are nothing more than your physical body and your mind. This illusion of the self, as the Buddha calls it, is the core error. Free from fear in its countless disguises as the inevitable consequence of that illusion. The fear that is your constant tormentor as long as you derive your sense of self only from this ephemeral, okay, I'm struggling with this word, y'all. Ephemeral, Ephemeral. I think it's ephemeral. And vulnerable form and free from sin, which is suffering you unconsciously inflict on yourself and others as long as this illusory sense of self governs what you think, say, and do. Look beyond the words. I don't like the word sin. It implies that I am being judged and found guilty. I can understand that. Over the centuries, many erroneous views and interpretations have accumulated around words, because categories, such as sin, due to ignorance, misunderstanding, or a desire to control. But they contain an essential core of truth. Mhm. If you are unable to look beyond such interpretations and so cannot recognize the reality to which the word points, then don't use it. This reminds me of how sometimes you can have a conversation with somebody. You can say a whole string and paragraph of things, and it'll be one word in everything, every truth that you are saying to them. And it'll be one word that they find some problem or error with, and that's what they want to focus on, not the thousands of other words that are absolutely 100% true. They look for the one thing they can pinpoint and say, well, all of that's wrong because of this thing you just said. Child, we're not about to get stuck. Let's keep going. We're not about to get stuck on this one thing, because human brains need to quantify and to qualify everything. Don't get stuck on the level of words. A word is no more than a means to an end. It's an abstraction, not unlike a signpost. It points beyond itself. The word honey isn't honey. You can study and talk about honey for as long as you like, but you won't really know it until you taste it. After you have tasted it, the word becomes less important to you. You won't be attached to it anymore. Similarly, you can talk or think about God continuously for the rest of your life. But does that mean you know or have even glimpsed the reality to which the word points? It really is no more than an obsessive attachment to a signpost, a mental idol. This is something that we all do. We find this shiny ball. And when we have difficult conversations, we want to say, well, that wasn't God-like for you to say that. Anything that is truthful is God-like. Anything that is absolutely happening is still God-like, because God is all things. God is omnipresent. God is all of the things, all of the good things, and dare I say, all of the bad things too. Mhm. It's on purpose with a purpose. It's all God. God did it all. The reverse also applies. If, for whatever reason, you dislike the word honey, that might prevent you from ever tasting it. If you had a strong aversion to the word God, which is a negative form of attachment, you may be denying not just the word, but also the reality to which it points. You would be cutting yourself off from the possibility of experiencing that reality. All this is, of course, intrinsically connected with being identified with your mind. So, if a word doesn't work for you anymore, then drop it. Replace it with that with one that does work. So even if somebody says something to you and you don't like that word, you know what they're saying. Flip that word, turn it into what you know that they're saying, and let them finish with the truth. Don't get stuck in the muck. I just had a tune in my head. Okay, focus. You don't have a lot of time, girl. You got to get out of here. If you don't like the word sin, then call it unconsciousness, call it insanity. If you don't like God, call it Allah, call it the universe. Like, stop getting stuck on words. If you don't like Christianity, call it Buddhism, call it whatever you want. It's still religion, it's still a thought process, it's still an institution. And we know institutions are terrible. All of them. Not some of them, all of them. They're all flawed. They're all based on somebody coming up. Every single institution in our country, in our world, is based on a come up. Everyone. Yes, this is my fake Starbucks tea. If you don't like the word sin, then call it unconsciousness, call it insanity. That may get you closer to the truth. The reality behind the word than a long misused word like sin and leaves little room for guilt. I don't like those words either. They imply that there is something wrong with me. I am being judged. Well, that's what we all do. We do. We judge, but okay. Even when you don't want to be judged, you still judge. So stop wanting to not be judged. Stop judging others. Start there. Let's start there. You don't want to be judged? Don't judge nobody else. It's not going to stop people from judging you, though. But it's a good start. Of course, there is something wrong with you, and you are not being judged. I don't mean to offend you personally, but do you not belong to the human race that killed over 100 million members of its own species in the 20th century alone? Because again, humans are terrible. Every single one of us. We all have the capability to kill, steal, and destroy, either physically, emotionally, mentally, or spiritually. Physical, mental, spiritual, emotional. Every single one of those areas of life, every single human being has the ability to kill, steal, and destroy in every single one of those four categories. So don't think you're better than somebody else because you haven't physically done something. Don't think you're better than somebody else because you haven't mentally done something. Some way, shape, or form, you've done something offensive to somebody else. Every single human being has. You mean guilt by association? It is not a question of guilt, but as long as you are run by the egoic mind, you are part of the collective insanity. Perhaps you haven't looked very deeply into the human condition in its state of dominance by the egoic mind. Open your eyes and see the fear, the despair, the greed, and the violence that are all pervasive. See the heinous cruelty and suffering on an unimaginable scale that humans have inflicted and continue to inflict on each other as well as on other life forms on the planet. I see it every day. I am a true crime junkie. And the things that human beings do to other human beings is atrocious. And it has been going on since the beginning of time, and it will continue long after I'm no longer here and you too. And if you watching this 100 years from now, it's going to still be on and popping in these heinous streets. And 100 years after that, to eternity, until this planet and living things don't exist anymore. And we don't know what that looks like. So there's that. You don't need to condemn, just observe. That is sin. That is insanity. That is unconsciousness. Above all, don't forget to observe your own mind. Seek out the root of the insanity there. Mhm. Because there is something happening within every single living being. Human beings have the ability of the gift, not the ability, the gift of discernment, should we want to use that gift. You do have a choice. You don't have to have or or tap into your discernment. You don't ever have to tap into your consciousness. You can live life very unconsciously. Very many humans do live a very unconscious life. You can choose that. Finding your invisible and indestructible reality. You said that identification with your physical form is part of the illusion. So, how can the body, the physical form, bring you to a realization of being? The body that you can see and touch cannot take you into being, but that visible and tangible body is only an outer shell. I call this shell an avatar, kind of like those little circle things on the screen. Those are avatars. Your body's literally an avatar. It is. You have the ability to adjust it, to change it, to maintain it, to not take care of it. It's up to you what you do with your body to a certain degree, but it's just a shell. The essence of who you are is not what you look like physically. The essence of who you are is your consciousness. But that visible and tangible body is only an outer shell, or rather, a limited and distorted perception of a deeper reality. In your natural state of connectedness with being, this deeper reality can be felt every moment as the invisible inner body, the animating presence within you. So, to inhabit the body is to feel the body from within, to feel the life inside the body, and thereby come to know what you are beyond the outer form. I remember when I was younger, my granny used to tell me, only crazy people talk to themselves. And I found that very interesting. I always took that with me because, like, I'm older now and I still remember that. And as I got older, I used to think I must be crazy because I've always had conversations with myself. I wasn't awoke or awakened at that time, and I'm still in my awakening. But now that I'm here, that's not true. You should be having conversations with yourself. You should be tapping into who you are, your inner being. There is a voice within inside of you. There's a God inside of you. What does that God say to you? What do you talk about? What is your purpose? Why are you here? What are you doing? Are you just aimlessly moving through life? Are you in pain? Are you a pain body that is willing to inflict pain on? Is that your purpose? It could be. It is part of our makeup. But are you aware? Are you awoke? Are you awakened to it? And if there is something happening inside of you that is uncomfortable for you, it is your godness wanting you to listen, wanting you to tap into the outside world to get some help sometimes. But if you ignore it and allow it to control you, it will. That pain body needs other pain bodies. There is a collective body, there is a collective presence that needs more pain in order to grow. I'm not concerned with clicks and views, but if you are, some people are willing to do anything to get them. Are you conscious of that? Are you conscious of what you're doing? Are you conscious of what you're attracting to you? But that is only the beginning of an inward journey that will take you ever more deeply into a realm of great stillness and peace, yet also of great power and vibrant life. At first, you may only get fleeting glimpses of it, but through them, you will begin to realize that you are not just a meaningless fragment in an alien universe, briefly suspended between birth and death. Allow the few short lived pleasures followed by pain and ultimate annihilation. Underneath your outer form, you are connected with something so vast, so immeasurable and sacred that it cannot be conceived or spoken of. Yet, I am speaking of it now. I am speaking of it not to give you something to believe in, but to show you how you can know it for yourself. Nola says we have to listen to our inner being. But do you know how many people don't listen to their inner being? There are so many humans that are so motivated by outside beings, and they will get a voice inside of them that will tell them, uh, uh, and they will ignore it. And they will continue to head towards destruction. One of the simplest and easiest things I can think of is food. Food can be medicine. It can also be destruction. How? Food can be medicine, but it can also destroy you. And it's your choice how you interact with food, right? Your relationship with food is based on you being in tune with yourself. Your relationship with food is knowing who you are. If you use food to keep you calm, to keep you stress-free, that food can destroy you because you will find yourself mindlessly consuming foods that are not medicine for your body. Food is only meant to be fuel. It is not to be taken in excess. That is how we get diseases. That is how we get sicknesses attributed to food. That is how we get obesity, because we are not being mindful about what we are consuming. And that goes for everything in life. If you are consuming a lot of negative YouTube, a lot of negative television, listening to a lot of negativity at work, at home, if you are giving out a lot of negativity, that is what you are consuming. Who are you? Is that what your inner godness is asking for? Well, hello, how are you? You are new. English with, am I saying it right? Gayu? Gayu? I'm not sure. I apologize if I'm saying it wrong. Good morning and thank you for being here. All right, let's keep going. You are cut off from being as long as your mind takes up all your attention. When this happens, and it happens continuously for most people, you are not in your body. The mind absorbs all your consciousness and transforms it into mind stuff. English says how to believe that what we have thought is possible because nothing is wrong in it. How to believe that what we have thought is possible. I'm not sure. I don't understand that. You cannot stop thinking. Compulsive thinking has become a collective disease. Your whole sense of who you are is then derived from mind activity, your identity, as it is no longer rooted in being, becomes vulnerable, an ever needy mental construct, which creates fear as the predominant underlying emotion. The one thing that truly matters is then missing from your life: awareness of deeper self, your invisible and indestructible reality. If you live a life where you can't stop trying to put everything into a category and stop thinking, that one of the things that I've learned is when people can't listen to somebody else, give them constructive criticism or complete a sentence, and they always have to jump in and cut people off, they have no self-awareness. If you can't have a conversation without always interjecting your thoughts while somebody else is talking and they haven't completed a sentence, if you can't give another person a space to get everything out that they need to say to you, you are not very self-aware. You don't listen. You listen to respond. You don't listen to learn. You literally listen to respond. People who listen to respond, your growth mindset is very limited, because if you can't grow as a human being, that means you're stuck. And if you live in a space where you know every single thing about all the things and nobody can tell you anything, why are you still here? Part of your human experience is to learn and to grow. To become conscious of being, you need to reclaim consciousness from the mind. This is one of the most essential talks on your spiritual journey. It will free vast amounts of consciousness that previously had been trapped in useless and compulsive thinking. A very effective way of doing this is simply to take the focus of your attention away from thinking and direct it into the body, where being can be felt in the first instance as the invisible energy field that gives life to what you perceive as the physical body. That allows you to listen without responding, and listening so that you can learn. You should never ever 100% agree with another human being about everything. If you agree with everything somebody else says to you, you have very limited growth. Your growth mindset is very limited. You should be curious and you should question everything in this world. But you also should be able to sit still, listen, absorb, and take the truthful pieces of anything, not all of it, but take the truthfulness of everything and grow from that. There is not one content creator that I watch that I agree with everything they say. There are things that I say and I'll look back on it and be like, girl, you was wrong about that. If you can't even have the growth mindset to reflect on your own self, how dare you point fingers at others? If you've never checked yourself, you should never check another person, another human being, because we are all just being human. And in our humanness, we are all very flawed. We are all kind of fucked up. All of us, including me and you. Connecting with the inner body. Please try it now. You may find it helpful to close your eyes for this practice. Later on, when being in the body has become natural and easy, this will no longer be necessary. Direct your attention into the body. Feel it from within. Is it alive? Is there life in your hands, arms, legs, feet, in your belly, in your chest? What does your breathing feel like? How fast is your heart beating right now? Can you feel the subtle energy field that pervades the entire body and gives vibrant life to every organ, to every cell? Can you feel it simultaneously in all parts of the body as a single field of energy? Keep focusing on the feeling of your inner body for a few moments. What is your mind doing? What is your breathing doing? Are you thinking? What do you feel? The more attention you give it, the clearer and stronger this feeling will become. It will feel as if every cell is becoming more alive. And if you have a strong visual sense, you may get an image of your body becoming luminous. Although such an image can help you temporarily, pay more attention to the feeling than to any image that may arise. An image, no matter how beautiful or powerful, is already defined in form. So there is less scope for penetrating more deeply. So all of the false images of Jesus, of God, that's the first thing that as a society we should unpack. God is, and states clearly, I am that I am. Nola says, there are videos I had to go back and admit. I said, absolutely, because we are flawed beings. But I've seen YouTube creators double down on foolala. Like, you're not perfect. Nobody is. You messed up. It's okay. The feeling of your body is formless, limitless, and unfathomable. You can always go into it more deeply. If you cannot feel very much at this stage, pay attention to whatever you can feel. Perhaps there is just a slight tingling in your hands or feet. That's good enough for now. Just focus on the feeling because your body is coming alive. One of the things that we do in dance, part of one of my warm-ups that I used to do, is we would lay on the floor, arms to the side, legs straight out, and you would breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. And every time you release that breath, your body would sink deeper into the floor until you could take your body into a place mentally. Maybe it was a beach. Maybe it was floating on the sea. But you could literally imagine in your mind being weightless, and you would send energy to your fingertips, to your toes, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth, and allowing that exhale to be the energy that you needed so that you could ignite every single part of your body. So that when we came out of that breathing exercise, we could actually move our bodies without tension, without force. We would just be able to be in class and move freely. No aches, no pains, just movement. No thoughts, just move. Later, we will practice some more. If your eyes are still closed, please open your eyes now. But keep some attention in the inner energy field of the body, even as you look around the room. The inner body lies at the threshold between your form identity and your essence identity, your true nature. Never lose touch with it. Transformation through the body. Why have most religions condemned or denied the body? It seems that spiritual seekers have always regarded the body as a hindrance or even as sinful. Why have so few seekers become finders? On the level of the body, humans are very close to animals. All the basic bodily functions, pleasure, pain, breathing, eating, drinking, defecating, sleeping, the drive to find a mate and procreate, and of course, birth and death. We share all of this with animals. A long time after their fall from a state of grace and oneness into illusion, humans suddenly woke up in what seemed to be an animal body. And they found this very disturbing. Don't fool yourself. You are no more than an animal. Human nature shows us this every day. Our prisons show us this every day. The secrets that your family keeps. I'm going to say that again. The secrets that your families keep shows us this every day. This seemed to be the truth that was staring them in the face. But it was too disturbing a truth to tolerate. Adam and Eve saw that they were naked and they became afraid. Unconsciousness, denial of their animal nature set in very quickly. The threat that they might be taken over by powerful instinctual drives and revert back to complete unconsciousness was indeed a very real one. Shame and taboos appeared around certain parts of the body and bodily functions, especially sexuality. And guess what? It's still a thing today. The light of their consciousness was not yet strong enough to make friends with their animal nature, to allow it to be and even enjoy that aspect of themselves, let alone to go deeply into find the divine hidden within it, the reality within the illusion. So they did what they had to do. They began to disassociate from their body. They now saw themselves as having a body rather than just being in it. Good morning, Foxy. Good morning, Sunshine. I'm trying to get off of here as soon as possible so I can still work out. I'll text you when I'm ready to go. Okay. When religions arose, because, we got to categorize and quantify and institutionalize every freaking thing in society. When religions arose, this disassociation became even more pronounced as the "you are not your body" belief. Countless people in East and West throughout the ages have tried to find God, salvation, or enlightenment through denial of the body. This took the form of denial of sense, pleasures, and of sexuality in particular, fasting, and other aesthetic practices. They even inflicted pain on the body in an attempt to weaken or punish it because they regarded it as sinful. In Christianity, this used to be called mortification of the flesh. Others tried to escape from the body by entering trance states or seeking out of body experiences. Many still do. Even the Buddha is said to have practiced body denial through fasting and extreme forms of asceticism for 6 years. But he did not attain enlightenment until after he had given up this practice. The fact that no one has ever become enlightened through denying or fighting the body or through an out-of-body experience. Although such an experience can be fascinating and can give you a glimpse of the state of liberation from the material form, in the end, you will always have to return to the body, where the essential work of transformation takes place. That is why I find the practice of the institutionalization of the Lenten season of fasting fascinating. It's fascinating to me. The thoughts of enlightenment that people have through fasting It kind of reminds me of New Year's resolutions. Is it a lifestyle or is it just something that's going to make you feel good? You don't need a new year to reset your life. You don't need to wait until a particular day on the calendar because all of these things are man-made, right? Like it's all an illusion. So why are you waiting for 40 days of fasting to clean out your body? Your body is full of junk. Do a detox. Drink some water, eat some fruit, eat some vegetables, and make it a lifestyle. Your enlightenment won't happen in just 40 days. Enlightenment is a journey. It is a lifelong journey. It is a journey. It is a process. A day on a calendar, an institutional coming together. It feels good. It's nice to be aware and awaken to these practices. But what is the long-term sustainability of any of those things? What is the long-term impact on your inner being, on your inner godness of any of those things? And if the pastor never asked you to do those things, then what? Who are you? What are you learning in church? Because it's an institution. What are you learning and how are you applying that to your daily life? Or are you only responsible while you in church? Do you go to church and then you come back out into the world and wreak havoc on everybody else? Like, what's the point? Oh, because it looks good. It makes everybody else think you are a certain thing. Stop it. Transformation is through the body, not away from it. This is why no true master has ever advanced fighting or leaving the body, although their mind-based followers have. Of the ancient teachings concerning the body, only certain fragments survive, such as Jesus' statement that your whole body will be filled with light. Or they survive as myths, such as the belief that Jesus never relinquished his body, but remained one with it and ascended into heaven with it. Almost no one to this day has understood those fragments or the hidden meaning of certain myths, and the "you are not your body" belief has prevailed universally, leading to body denial and attempts to escape from the body. Countless seekers have thus been prevented from attaining spiritual realization for themselves and becoming finders. Is it possible to recover the lost teachings on the significance of the body or to reconstruct them from the existing fragments? There is no need for that. All spiritual teachings originate from the same source. In that sense, there is and always has been only one master who manifests in many different forms. I am that master, and so are you. Once you are able to access the source within, though, you have to access the godness in you. And the way to it is through the inner body. Although all spiritual teachings originate from the same source, once they become verbalized and written down, they are obviously no more than a collection of words. Kind of like love, right? Love is an action word. You can write it down, you can say it, but if there is no action happening, what is that? It's just a word. And a word is nothing but a signpost. As we talked about earlier, all such teachings are signposts pointing the way back to the source. And guess what? It's pointing back to you. That means you need to know who you are. And guess what? You need to know what your purpose is. So many of us out here purposeless. What are you doing? Why are you doing it? Do you ever question the things that you do? Do you ever ask yourself, why did I just do that? Did I really reap from that what I thought I wanted? And what I am is what I am sowing going to give me back the energy that I need to be a better human being, whatever that is, whatever your better is. Good morning, beautiful Shalom. Good morning, sunshine. And yes, it's a blessed Sabbath. Good morning. Good morning. I have already spoken of the truth that is hidden within your body, but I will summarize for you again the lost teachings of the masters. So here's another signpost. Please endeavor to feel your inner body as you read or listen. Sermon on the body. What you perceive as a dense physical structure called the body, which is subject to disease, old age, memory loss, loss of limbs, loss of movement, is not ultimately real. It's not who you are. It is a misperception of your essential reality that is beyond birth and death, and is due to the limitations of your mind, which, having lost touch with being, creates the body as evidence of its illusory belief in separation and to justify its state of fear. But do not turn away from the body, for within that symbol of impermanence, limitation, and death that you perceive as the illusory creation of your mind is concealed the splendor of your essential and immortal reality. Do not turn your attention elsewhere in search for the truth, for it is nowhere else to be found. It's within your body. You know what your body needs. You know when you go too far. You are very aware. With anything, when you go too far with your thoughts, it causes stress and anxiety. That means you went too far. When you go too far with your words, it inflicts pain and hurt on others. That means you went too far because you know. And if that was your purpose, you know. When you go too far with your food, it inflicts itis and obesity and sickness and disease. Because we go too far with so much in this world. Unconsciously, that is how we get ourselves caught up, because we keep living unconsciously. Do not fight against the body, for in doing so, you are fighting against your own reality. You are your body. The body that you can see and touch is only a thin, illusory veil. Underneath it lies the invisible inner body, the doorway into being, into life, unmanifested. Through the inner body, you are inseparably connected to this unmanifested one life, birthless, deathless, eternally present. Through the inner body, you are forever one with God. This is the vessel. This is the one shot that your consciousness gets to connect to the source. This is it. You get one shot. I know that there are lots of religions that believe in reincarnation, other lives, other realms. I get it and I respect it. But for today and in this present moment, this is it. You don't get to pick if you come back as an ant or a roach. And guess what? If you believe in reincarnation, you're not going to know anyway, because you will just be. So you need to tap into your nowness. You need to tap into your presentness and focus on connecting with the source now, because you only get one shot at this life. Have deep roots within. The key is to be in a state of permanent connectedness with your inner body, to feel it at all times. This will rapidly deepen and transform your life. The more consciousness you direct into the inner body, the higher its vibrational frequency becomes, much like a light that grows brighter as you turn up the dimmer switch and so increase the flow of electricity. At this higher energy level, negativity cannot affect you anymore, and you tend to attract new circumstances that reflect this higher frequency. Child, let me tell y'all something. Because listen, y'all know I'm still working on my consciousness and my nowness. I am not an expert on this. Eckhart is. I didn't write the book. I'm just reading it. And I connect with a lot of what he says. But I gave y'all an example of my humanity yesterday. But listen, when he talks about this, what you attract, I always think about relationships. I attract some of the child. I'm like, what? And so listen, with the energy that I attract from men, I'm always thinking like, what did I do to attract you? Like, what type of work do I need to do on myself? Because I'm not blaming you for being who you are, but you are a fucking mess. And why are you attracted to me? I don't want you to be attracted to me. What is the energy that I am putting out? Like, I'm always thinking that. Like, when a cookie crumbles and the relationship ends, I'm like, Jesus, what did I do? What do I need to fix about myself and my energy so that I don't attract that ever again? Because it's not them, it's me. I don't blame other people when I get caught up in fool-la-la. I look at myself like, girl, stop pointing fingers. Look at yourself. What is the energy that you are putting out? Child, I don't know. But I have a terrible track record. Relationshipally terrible. If you keep your attention in the body as much as possible, you will be anchored in the now. You won't lose yourself in the external world, and you won't lose yourself in your mind. Thoughts and emotions, fears and desires may still be there to some extent, but they won't take you over. Beautiful Shalom says, people tell me I have nurturing, healing energy. So I have like a dual, and I'm very aware of it. My energy is dependent on what I'm doing, I think, or where I'm at, right? So my energy at work is electric. I am like, if I'm not hype and upbeat at work, they're like, what's wrong? If I'm having a bad day or not not joyful and spreading love and joy at work, they're like, what's wrong? That's my energy at work. Like, I have a very, people come talk to me at work. In my personal life and walking down the street or in a grocery store, I have very standoffish energy. I do not look at people. I do not connect with others like genuinely. I'm not in the if I'm sitting on an airplane, I don't want to talk to nobody. I want to put my earbuds in and be left alone. That's my energy when I'm by myself. But when I'm in a crowd, or I don't do this anymore. When I used to go to clubs, my energy is very protective. Like, I have I don't trust you kind of energy when I'm in crowds and stuff like that. Like, I don't want, and I'm from the D. So walking down the street, I think I told this story before. When I went away to college in the South and people was walking down the street saying hello, it was very off-putting to me because we don't speak. We won't say hi to each other walking down the street. Because if you make eye contact, that means you might want beef. Child, won't look at you in Detroit. No. Keep your focus forward and get to where you got to go. So my energy, like, literally, it really depends. My party, I hadn't when I just had my 50th birthday party in June. My energy at that party was just electric. It was exciting. I was just so happy, right? And people I hadn't seen in years was like, "Oh my god, your energy is so like it just spreads, like it's contagious." So like my energy, it's very dependent. It really is. Beautiful Shalom. I had to see that and see how some of my relationships weren't conductive to my well-being. I needed a balance, and I have a hard time letting people help me, but you have to. You talking about the energies? Girl, very, very. I don't be looking at people. People can be looking at me, and I'll be like, I don't. And I told y'all about my peripheral yesterday. I can see everything. I can see people wanting to make eye contact with me, and I ignore that on purpose. I don't, that's not what I want to do right now. I can see people trying to approach me, and I do a kind of move, like, don't come talk to me. But if you get in my force field, it will grab you. I can't help who it pulls in, but I learn compassionate boundaries. And that's what I have to learn. Like, I'm working on discernment when I talk about my relationships with guys and that type of energy that I attract. Child, I'm like, okay, maybe instead of feeding into it, you need to do more work on your discernment. That's what I got to figure out. I'm not discerning the energy yet. And so you shouldn't be that close to me yet because I haven't done enough work on discerning your energy. Um, Foxy said, Foxy, everybody I know, Foxy has such a positive outlook for everything and everybody. She is she finds positivity in everything. When I tell you she's my, like, Foxy, you and Trey, y'all are my two most everything is good people that I've ever known. And I love that. Like, I need that because that's not me. Child, I will look at you and be like, I be putting Foxy up on stuff because I have to give Foxy like the underlay. I be like, Foxy, I watch such and such and such and such. And let me tell you, the other part. And then 3, 4, 5 months later, the stuff will start falling down. And Foxy be like, oh my God, you said that. I'll be like, girl, I watched that. I studied that. I knew that. I knew that was coming. I saw that happening in real time. Please examine where your attention is at this moment. You are listening to me or you are reading these words in a book. That is the focus of your attention. You are also peripherally aware of your surroundings. That's what I talked about yesterday. I can see all of this. You are peripherally aware of your surroundings, other people, and so on. Furthermore, there may be some mind activity around what you are hearing or reading, some mental commentary. Yet, there is no need for any of this to absorb all of your attention. See if you can be in touch with your inner body at the same time. Keep some of your attention within. Don't let it flow out. Feel your whole body from within as a single field of energy. It is almost as if you were listening or reading with your whole body. Let this be your practice in the days and weeks to come. Do not give all your attention away to the mind and the external world. By all means, focus on what you are doing, but feel the inner body at the same time whenever possible. Stay rooted within. Then observe how this changes your state of consciousness and the quality of what you are doing. Whenever you are waiting, wherever it may be, use that time to feel the inner body. In this way, traffic jams and lines become very enjoyable. Instead of mentally projecting yourself away from the now, go more deeply into the now by going more deeply into the body. This reminds me of the 9 hours before I snapped at the hospital. I was really practicing, y'all. I was consciously practicing breathing, advocating for mommy, giving her the things she needed that the hospital didn't offer her, like lunch and dinner, hospital socks with the grip, like all of those things. I was so cool, calm, and collected. I was being mindful. I was in my now. And then boom, white fragility comes and pull me out of my presentness. Child. The art of inner body awareness will develop into a completely new way of living, a state of permanent connectedness with being, and will add a depth to your life that you've never known. All right. Oh, I saw somebody come in. Beautiful Shalom says, I'm a realist and I don't ever second guess my discernment today. I'm getting there, Beautiful Shalom, because sometimes I still do. Fossey says, I need to get up and get dressed. Everyone have a wonderful day. Yep, get ready, girl. We got somewhere to go. Hey, Treya. Good morning, sunshine. I saw you were live and wanted to pop in and say, hey, just about to hop on my Peloton. I know I got to get on. I'm trying to get on mine, but child, I might not make it on there today. Hey, boo. All right. It is easy to stay present as the observer of your mind when you are deeply rooted within your body. No matter what happens on the outside, nothing can shake you anymore. Oh, yeah, y'all. If y'all got a Peloton, follow your girl. I'm Gemini 5 Dimes. Gemini number 5 Dimes. That's my name on Peloton. Unless you stay present and inhabiting your body is always an essential aspect of it, you will continue to be run by your mind. The script in your head that you learned a long time ago, the conditioning of your mind will dictate your thinking and your behavior. You may be free of it for brief intervals, but rarely for long. This is especially true when something goes wrong or there is some loss or upset. Your conditioned reaction will then be involuntary, automatic, and predictable, fueled by the one basic emotion that underlies the mind identified state of consciousness, which is fear. Blessings, Drea. Have a blessed day. Enjoy your Peloton. I don't think I'm going to make it on there this morning, but I probably will try to get there this afternoon, or this might be my day off, and I'll be there bright and early tomorrow. So when such challenges come, as they always do, make it a habit to go within at once and focus as much as you can on the inner energy field of your body. This need not take long, just a few seconds, but you need to do it in the moment that the challenge presents itself. Any delay will allow a conditioned mental emotional reaction to arise and take you over. And that's where I went wrong, y'all, with white fragility. In the moment that I felt that energy rising up, that heat, that anger, I did not tap into all of the work I had done for 9 hours went out the window. I should have tapped into my oneness, my godness, and breathed through that anger and been able to have a civil conversation about what was happening in that moment. And that is why I finally, whether I apologize in person, which really shouldn't matter, because you don't need another person's apology to move forward in life. When you apologize, you really are doing it less for the other person. You are doing it more for yourself, because you need to move past some hurt, some anger, and some trauma that you have caused and internalized within yourself, so that you can grow and that you can see the error of your ways and become a better being, whatever better means to you. When you focus within and feel the inner body, you immediately become still and present as you are withdrawing consciousness from the mind. And I say that you don't need the other person, because you can apologize and the other person can never forgive you. You don't need forgiveness to be better aware. You don't need another person's forgiveness to become a better human being. You don't need another person's forgiveness to move forward. That's not what you apologizing is for. Apologies are and can be helpful to other people, but they're not necessary for the other. The apology is for you to grow. consciously? Are you conscious of the harm and the hurt that you inflicted on another human being, on another person, on another being? You could be kicking cats or mistreating dogs. Are you apologizing to the universe? That is where your apology actually goes, because the universe knows everything. The universe is consciousness. The universe is oneness. Everything is connected to the universe. Are you growing from the pain that you inflicted into the universe? If a response is required in that situation, it will come up from this deeper level. Just as the sun is infinitely brighter than a candle flame, there is infinitely more intelligence in being than in your mind. As long as you are in conscious contact with your inner being, you are like a tree that is deeply rooted in the earth, or a building with a deep and solid foundation. The latter analogy is used by Jesus in the generally misunderstood parable of the two men who build a house. One man builds it on sand without a foundation, and when the storms and floods come, the house is swept away. The other man digs deep until he reaches the rock, then builds his house, which is not swept away by the floods. When I got married, my mama told me we were building a house on sand. And in that moment, I couldn't hear her. I couldn't acknowledge her. And I didn't believe her. Into the marriage very early. 4 years later, we were divorced because she was correct. She had much more wisdom and insight and awareness than I did at 30 something years old. I was 30 something years old when I got married. And my mama told me at that time, you are building a house on sand. Mm-hmm. Did it worry me? Nah. I was a firecracker. You tell me to go right, I'm gonna go left just because. And plus, relationally, I didn't hold my mother's advice with much regard, in all honesty. She had given me some other relationship advice that didn't manifest in a positive manner. So from that moment on, I had decided she could never give me relationship advice again. And that's one thing that we do. When people maybe impart wisdom on us, especially when we're younger and we're not mindful or less mature, if we find any flaws in it, we find a way to say, I don't gotta listen to you no more because you said something before and that didn't pan out. And so now, which is basically what I did, I couldn't hear her anymore after that because she had already gave me some advice that was a train wreck. So for her to tell me my marriage was based or built on sand, girl, you don't know what you're talking about. You ain't got a man. You ain't got a husband. You know how we do. You know how we do. Well, how you gonna give me advice? Just because a person is not in your particular situation does not mean that they don't have wisdom. Does not mean that they don't have awareness. I am able to give relationship advice even though I lack being in an actual relationship, because the relationship advice is not about people. My advice, current day, is about behaviors and about oneness with the universe. So I don't ever give answers. And it is causing, I can tell you this, the way that I approach life now is causing some disconnect between me and my daughter. because my daughter wants answers and I don't give answers anymore. I wouldn't give her advice like you're building a house on sand, because there are phases and stages that she needs to go through in order for her to mature. If my mother would have maybe changed her approach in the advice that she gave me and had a genuine conversation about behaviors, it may have changed the course of that relationship. And so that is the work that I'm doing on myself with my children. But because we just want quick fixes in life, we want somebody to give us the answers to all of the questions on all of the tests, and we don't like studying, she don't like it. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry, baby. I'm sorry. Before you enter the body, forgive. I felt very uncomfortable when I tried to put my attention on the inner body. There was a feeling of agitation and some nausea. So I haven't been able to experience what you're talking about. What you felt was a lingering emotion that you were probably unaware of until you started putting some attention into the body. Unless you first give it some attention, the emotion will prevent you from gaining access to the inner body, which lies at a deeper level underneath it. Attention does not mean that you start thinking about it. It means to just observe. One of the things that we have to learn how to do is move from the thinking to respond, into the observe and absorb part of life. You don't always have to have an answer for everything you see. Some things you can just absorb and learn about and be neutral. It means to just observe the emotion, to feel it fully, and so to acknowledge and accept it as it is. So as I reflect on my rowdy behavior in the hospital, it would have better served me to absorb that fire energy that rose up in me, to have a conversation with myself about what was happening in that moment, and then approach and unpack what I just heard. But I didn't mentally respond. I emotionally reacted. And that is where we all as a human race should want to grow. Less emotional responses, more mental reactions. Mental responses, less emotional reaction. Emotional reactions is why there are homicides, because you are emotional, and you will very likely regret your actions based on that emotion. Mentally respond, don't emotionally react. Some emotions are easily identified: anger, fear, grief, and so on. Others may be much harder to label. They may they may just be vague feelings of unease, heaviness, or constriction, halfway between an emotion and a physical sensation. In any case, what matters is not whether you can attach a mental label to it, but whether you can bring the feeling of it into awareness as much as possible. Attention is the key to transformation, and full attention also implies acceptance. Attention is like a beam of light, the focused power of your consciousness that transmutes everything into itself. Good morning, we on live. Good morning. It has been a long time. I pop up very infrequently from, time and again. But I think I can start doing weekends. I think we're in a good place to do weekends. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. In a fully functional organism, an emotion has a very short lifespan. Yeah, I know. Your emotions come and go. In the heat of anger, foolishness can happen. In the heat of anger, you can say something that you can never take back. Your words can cut like a knife in the heat of anger. That is why, as we all experience this humanness that we are in, that we didn't choose to be in, we didn't choose to be here, but here we are. As we experience this humanness, getting a hold of your emotions is really important, because your emotions can lead you down a rabbit hole that you had no intention of going down. Your emotions can burn relationships that were sent to help you, to grow you, because you keep emotionally reacting instead of mentally responding. Your emotions are getting the better of you in a life that should not be governed by emotions, because they're not real. They're feelings that come and go. In a fully functional organism, an emotion has a very short lifespan. It is like a momentary ripple or wave on the surface of your being. When you are not in your body, however, an emotion can survive inside you for days or weeks, or join with other emotions of a similar frequency that have merged and become the pain body, a parasite that can live inside you for years, feeding on your energy, leading to physical illness, and make your life miserable. We see it every day on YouTube. We see it every day in the beef sector. We see people screaming and hollering into microphones, through avatars, through places and spaces. You don't even know who these human beings are, creating conflict, discord, disharmony. We see it every day in these little boxes on Beyonce's internet. It happens every single day, because pain bodies unite and become super pain bodies, and they want to inflict pain and conflict on others because they can't survive alone. They can't, because most pain bodies would rather take their pain out on others instead of dealing with that internal pain themselves. So, place your attention on feeling the emotion and check whether your mind is holding on to a grievance pattern such as blame, self-pity, or resentment that is feeding the emotion. If that is the case, it means that you haven't forgiven. Non-forgiveness is often toward another person or yourself. Have you forgiven yourself? There is so much that we've done and packed down emotionally. And a lot of us have not done the work to forgive ourselves of the pain that we inflict on others. But it may just as well be toward any situation or condition, past, present, or future, that your mind refuses to accept. Yes, there can be non-forgiveness, even with regard to the future. This is the mind's refusal to accept uncertainty, to accept that the future is ultimately beyond its control. Forgiveness is to relinquish your grievance and so to let go of grief. It happens naturally once you realize that your grievance serves no purpose except to strengthen a false sense of self. Forgiveness is to offer no resistance to life, to allow life to live through you. The alternatives are pain and suffering, a greatly restricted flow of life energy, and in many cases, what you are doing is causing disease within your body. You are the creator of your own dis-ease. I'm going to say that again. A lot of the disease that is within your body. Not all, because some people are born with disease. But a lot of disease that is within your body, it's your fault. You put it there. Flat out. A lot, not all. I didn't say all. But a lot of your disease is self-inflicted. The moment you truly forgive, you have reclaimed your power from the mind. Non-forgiveness is the very nature of the mind. Just as the mind-made false self, the ego, cannot survive without strife and conflict, the mind cannot forgive. Only you can. You become present. You enter your body. You feel the vibrant peace and stillness that emanate from being. That is why Jesus said, before you enter the temple, before you start your day, before you think a thought, before you open your mouth, forgive. That is the greatest gift you can give. Forgiveness. All right, beautiful Shalom. Thank you for being here. All right, get your routine in. Have a blessed day. I love you. All right, you guys, we are almost kind of, sort of close. I hope we get there before 8 because I got to go. I'm definitely not going to get my workout in this morning. I'm already over an hour, child. I'm trying to work out. I don't do good working out later. I'm not going to lie to the universe. The universe knows I don't like working out in the afternoon or in the evenings. So today might be my day off. I do take one day off a week. So this will be my day off. Your link with the unmanifested. What is the relationship between presence and the inner body? Presence is pure consciousness. Consciousness that has been reclaimed from the mind, from the world of form. The inner body is your link with the unmanifested, and in its deepest aspect is the unmanifested, the source from which consciousness emanates. As light emanates from the sun, awareness of the inner body is consciousness remembering its origin and returning to the source. Is the unmanifested the same as being? Yes. The word unmanifested attempts, by the way of negation, to express that which can be spoken, thought, or imagined. It points to what it is by saying what it is not. Being, on the other hand, is a positive term. Please don't get attached to either of these words or start believing in them. Remember, we do not get attached to words. They are no more than signposts. The words are arrows to get you to where you need to be. Don't get stuck looking at the signpost. Move. Okay? Word, signpost, arrow, go that way. Don't stop. Keep moving. You said that presence is consciousness that has been reclaimed from the mind. Who does that reclaiming? You do. Like, I don't even need to read the next line. You do. I do. We do. I am that I am. I am the work that I need to do. I am consciousness. I am what I'm supposed to do. It is all within me. I don't need external forces. It's in me if I am consciously aware and connected to God, Buddha, Allah, whatever it is, whatever your higher being is. And if you don't have one, you're lying to yourself. Because the only way you cannot believe in something is to believe that something exists. Get that when you get home. You do. But since in your essence, you are consciousness. That's what I just said, y'all. We might as well say that it is awakening of consciousness from the dream of form. This does not mean that your own form will instantly vanish in an explosion of light. You can continue in your present form, yet be aware of the formless and deathless deep within you. I must admit that this is way beyond my comprehension. And some of y'all are probably listening like, what is she talking about? Just be. Stop trying to make sense of being. And yet, on some deeper level, I seem to know what you are talking about. That's consciousness, y'all. It's more like a feeling than anything else. Am I deceiving myself? No, you're not. Feeling will get you closer to the truth of who you are, more so than thinking. I cannot tell you anything that deep within that you don't already know. When you have reached a certain stage of interconnectedness, you recognize the truth when you hear it. If you haven't reached that stage yet, the practice of body awareness will bring about the deepening that is necessary. In the meantime, slowing down the aging process. Slowing down the aging process. I have no idea what is about to be said. Let's find that out. In the meantime, awareness of the inner body has other benefits in the physical realm. One of them is a significant slowing down of the aging of the physical body. Now, this is going to be interesting. Whereas the outer body normally appears to grow old and wither fairly quickly, the inner body does not change with time, except that you may feel it more deeply and become it more fully. If you are 20 years old now, the energy field of your inner body will feel just the same when you are 80. It will be just as vibrantly alive. As soon as your habitual state changes from being out of the body and trapped in your mind to being in the body and present in the now, your physical body will feel lighter, clearer, more alive. As there is more consciousness in the body, its molecular structure actually becomes less dense. More consciousness means a lessening of the illusion of materialism. Let me finish this last paragraph. I was about to summarize what I think he's saying, but I'm going to hold that thought because I shouldn't be thinking right now, right? See how I did that? I caught myself. When you become identified more with the timeless inner body than with the outer body, when presence becomes your normal mode of consciousness and past and future no longer dominate your attention, you do not accumulate time anymore in your psyche and in the cells of your body. The accumulation of time as the psychological burden of past and future greatly impairs the cell's capacity for self-renewal. So, if you inhabit the inner body, the outer body will grow old at a much slower rate. And even when it does, your timeless essence will shine through the outer form, and you will not give the appearance of an old person. What I find interesting about this, y'all, somebody told me I needed to grow up. And it hit me like a stone. Because mentally, I know my age. I know that I'm 50 years old. I get that, right? But I don't feel like I'm 50 years old. I don't know what that should feel like. I feel very youthful. I have lived longer than somebody that's not 50 or older. But I process life as I have something to learn every day. I don't process life as though I have all the answers. I typically will have more questions about life than answers. I find that the knowledge that I share or the information that I give is based on my lived experiences and traps that I would prefer that my children avoid than making them into something that I want them to be. Because we all have to just be. So I find I don't necessarily fully understand this section, but I find connectedness with it because internally, I don't feel a certain age or way that probably I should based on society. And maybe based on society, I do need to grow up. But I also feel that if I were to grow up as such, I would look like it. I would feel like it. I would inflict it on others. And that is not what I believe my work here on earth is to do. And I also don't believe I would be as effective in my job as I am if I were to grow up. Is there any scientific evidence for this? I'm going to tell y'all what Eckhart says. Because Eckhart says, try it out and you be the evidence. If I could pick this mic up and drop it, I would. Because that's literally what I just said. I am the evidence. I am the evidence. Strengthening the immune system. Another benefit of this practice in the physical realm is a great strengthening of the immune system, which occurs when you inhabit the body. The more consciousness you bring into the body, the stronger the immune system becomes. It is as if every cell awakens and rejoices. The body loves your attention. It is also a potent form of self-healing. Most illnesses creep in. I just talked about y'all making yourself sick. Most illnesses creep in when you are not present in the body. If the master is not present in a house, all kinds of shady characters will take up residence there. When you inhabit your body, it will be hard for unwanted guests to enter. When you know who you are, it will be hard for somebody to tell you a lie and you take it as the truth. Because you will be curious. You will question everything. And you will ask. It is not only your physical immune system that becomes strengthened. Your psychic immune system is greatly enhanced as well. The latter protects you from the negative mental emotional force fields of others, which are highly contagious. Inhabiting the body protects you not by putting up a shield, but by raising the frequency vibration of your total energy field. So that anything that vibrates at a lower frequency, such as fear, anger, depression, and so on, now exits in what is virtually a different order of reality. If you wonder why you didn't absorb the generational curse of depression that has inflicted your family, it very likely could be because you have awakened your inner being and you are in touch and in tune. That is something that I think about all the time. Foxy is time checking me right now. Foxy, I'm almost done. I'm not going to stop until I finish. So it might be a little after 8. But as soon as I get off, I'm going to get dressed and we're going to be ready to go. But I'm almost done. I got like 2 pages left to read. That is why. That is something that I actually think about all the time. There is depression on an addiction on both sides of my family tree. The addiction part, I move in and out of those addictive phases, honestly. I have obsessive compulsive behaviors that I've identified. And when I do a thing, I do a thing flat out. My first YouTube video was a crash and burn because I was so foolish enough to think I should turn the camera on and drink a beverage that I shouldn't have done. And because it was a crash and burn because of my obsessiveness, because I believe if you're going to be in shape, be in shape. If you're going to eat right, eat right. If you go into the bar to have some drinks, get drunk. Like that is how obsessive I am about doing things. And there is some type of switch that I have to flip in my brain to turn it on and to turn it off. And when I turn it off, I have to abstain from my obsessive behaviors, especially the negative ones. I have a lot of negative behaviors that I've picked up or inherited in life. And I have to literally turn those behaviors off and do work on my consciousness so that I don't continue down that negative rabbit hole of addiction. Real talk. Addiction is on both sides of my family. I am not greater or lesser of that energy. It resides within me too. It doesn't enter your field of consciousness anymore. Or if it does, you don't need to offer any resistance to it because it passes right through you. Please don't just accept or reject what I'm saying. Put it to the test. There is a simple but powerful self-healing meditation that you can do whenever you feel the need to boost your immune system. It is particularly effective if used when you feel the first symptoms of an illness. But it also works with illnesses that are already entrenched if you use it at frequent intervals and with intense focus. It will also counteract any disruption of your energy field by some form of negativity. However, it is not a substitute for the moment-to-moment practice of being in the body. Otherwise, its effect will only be temporary. Here it is. When you are unoccupied for a few minutes, and especially last thing at night before falling asleep and first thing in the morning before getting up, flood your body with consciousness. Close your eyes, lie flat on your back. Choose different parts of your body to focus your attention on briefly at first. This is our warm-up activity and dance, y'all, that we used to do. Hands, feet, arms, legs, abdomen, chest, head, and so on. Feel the life energy inside those parts as intensely as you can. Stay with each part for as long as you can. 5, 10, 15 seconds, as long as you can stay there. Feel the energy in every single part of your being, your body. Then let your attention run through the body like a wave a few times, from your feet to your head, to your fingers, back to your feet. Monitor the energy. Feel the energy. Be the internal energy. This need only take a minute or so. After that, feel the inner body in its totality as a single field of energy. Hold that feeling for a few minutes. Be intensely present during that time, present in every cell of your body. Don't be concerned if the mind occasionally succeeds in drawing your attention out of your body and you lose yourself in some thought. As soon as you notice it, bring it back. Come back. Return your attention to your inner body. Foxy said positive, true thinking this, and it is so helpful and it makes you think. Let the breath take you into the body. At times, when my mind has been very active, it has acquired such momentum that I find it impossible to take my attention away from it and feel the inner body. This happens particularly when I get into a worry or anxiety pattern. Do you have any suggestions? If at any time you are finding it hard to get in touch with the inner body, it is usually easier to focus on your breathing first. Conscious breathing, which is a powerful meditation in its own right, will gradually put you in touch with the body. Follow the breath with your attention as it moves in and out of your body. Breathe into the body and feel your abdomen expanding and contracting slightly with each inhalation and exhalation. If you find it easy to visualize, close your eyes and see yourself surrounded by light or immersed in a luminous substance, a sea of consciousness. Then breathe in the light. Feel the luminous substance filling up your body and making it luminous also. Then gradually focus more on the feeling. You are now in your body. Don't get attached to the visual image. Creative use of mind. If you need to use your mind for a specific purpose, use it in conjunction with your inner body. Only if you are able to be conscious without thought can you use your mind creatively. And the easiest way to enter that state is through your body. Whenever an answer, a solution, or a creative ideal is needed, stop thinking for a moment by focusing attention on your inner energy field. Become aware of the stillness. When you resume thinking, it will be fresh and creative. In any thought activity, make it a habit to go back and forth every few minutes or so between thinking and an inner kind of listening, an inner stillness. We could say, don't just think with your head, think with your whole body. Think with your inner being. This is the last section, you guys, and then we'll be done. The art of listening. When listening to another person, don't just listen with your mind. Listen with your whole body. Feel the energy field of your inner body as you listen. That takes attention away from thinking and creates a still space that enables you to truly listen without the mind interfering. You are giving the other person space to be, and it allows you to not respond, to not need to counter what you are hearing, because you are absorbing what is being said. You're not listening to respond. You're listening to learn, to grow. It is the most precious gift that you can give. Most people don't know how to listen because the major part of their attention is taken up by thinking. They pay more attention to that than to what the other person is saying, and none at all to what really matters. the being of the other person underneath the words and the mind. Of course, you cannot feel someone else's being except through your own. This is the beginning of the realization of oneness. And oneness, are y'all ready for what it is? Do you know what oneness is? What is oneness? When you can listen without responding, when you can become one with another person because you can just be. Oneness is love. Listening is love. Absorbing is love. Not responding is love. Most human relationships consist mainly of minds interacting with each other, not of human beings communicating, being in communion. No relationship can thrive in that way. And that is why there is so much conflict in relationships. When the mind is running your life, conflict, strife, and problems are inevitable. Being in touch with your inner body creates a space of no mind, which then the relationship can bloom, it can flower, because the relationship can be. You are able to be. They are able to be. Yes, listening is the key. Oh, thank you, Nola. I'm so glad. I love you all. I appreciate you. The next chapter, chapter 7, I'm not going to promise tomorrow because I do have a lot to do tomorrow. But, and it will, if I am able to come live tomorrow, it will be very early, probably earlier than now, because I do have a full day planned tomorrow. And tomorrow is MLK Day. But this is going to be a good chapter. Chapter 7, portals into the manifested. What are you manifesting? What is your energy? What are you bringing into your consciousness? I love you. I appreciate you. If you are here now, in the future, make sure you hit that like. Make sure you subscribe to your girl. I have gotten everything I wanted on my YouTube channel. The only thing I really wanted, remember before you had to have 500 followers to get a community tab? We all have a community tab now. So if I ever get to 1,000, that's good. But YouTube, for me, I'm not really here to make a coin. I'm here to make a difference. I'm here to impart knowledge and wisdom, which is not always going to be the highest views. It will very likely not get the most subscriptions, and I'm okay with that. This is extra for me. This is not my job. I have a whole career that I absolutely love. And this part of my life, coming live with you all, I love that too. That is duality. That's part of who I am. It's not all of who I am. I love you. I thank you. Have a blessed day. Mwah.